Another important here is whenever you are defining the components, if for every component, actually what happens is for every component, it will create a separate folder. Automatically, it will create a folder. In the folder, it will keep all the files. Let's do one thing. Let's run this ng generate component. Component name I will give as the register. Register is the component name, and hit enter. So I am using the command ng generate component and register, and it is going to generate a component. So when it is going to generate the component, you can observe you can see it has added 4 files. So what are those 4 files? This is spec.ts also. Yeah. Now what are these files? One is, let's go to the design. You can see here there is a separate folder now by name register, and in register folder all the 4 files are present. Register component CSS, register component HTML, register component spec, register component TS. And observe carefully, when I go to register component TS, you can see that in the register component TS file, all the logic is ready. Everything is ready. It has given some extra implements, constructor and all, which we don't need every time. So as of now, we can ignore them and we can start modifying this and designing according to our requirement. Right? Everything is designed. HTML, you can see only some heading may be there, a paragraph, register works. CSS is empty. Spec.ts contains all the information about testing it. The testing you will learn later, how to define the testing. So here, it will add everything for you. Not only that, observe carefully. Go to appmodule.ts. In app module, register component is here registered. If you want in the startup, just change the startup. But your component is registered also. In the app module, it imports and it registers. So your component is ready to use. Everything, whatever needed for your component is designed, is configured for you. But unnecessary structure may come related to some methods and events which you don't need every time. So you can ignore that. That's the reason you can add manually, or you can speed up your work by adding in this way. But here, whenever we add a component, we don't want test file, then we can skip tests. That means what we do here, suppose I'm adding one more component here. I'm adding one more component here. In the component, so that means how do we define? So ng generate component, and suppose home and hyphen skip tests is equal to false. Skip tests equal to false. That means I don't want to generate the test file. Remember, these commands case sensitive. Capitalization issues will be there. Make sure that the attributes for the commands you are configuring in the same way. Skip tests equal to false. That means it will ignore the test file. So skip test is equal to true or false. You have to define. So skip test equal to true. skip test is equal to true, and skip test is equal to false. So skip test equal to true and hit enter. I am configuring that skip test equal to true and define. And you can see it's added, but no script file. That means it will ignore the test file. True means ignore the test file. It added home component, but observe here in the home component, see the result. It says that only these three files added: HTML, TS, CSS, and it updated in app module.ts. And you can go and see in the home component, and in the home component you can observe that only three files are present. So because we don't need a test file every time, so then we can simply ignore that. So, but usually for every component we need a test file so that we can easily test that application. Fine. So these are commands as per our requirements we need to define. So that means it will generate a component, ignore the test file. So you can use ng generate component, nggc, it will generate all these files. If you want to ignore, then you can define. There is another option. Another option is you can generate the commands. So actually you can define in this way. What you can define is you can simply write ng generate component, and here actually component name you have to give, component name, and you say skip test. Then test file will be ignored. Then another option, ng generate component and component name. After defining the component name, you can write here --inline template is equal to true. Inline template equal to true. That means, so what will happen now? Inline template equal to true. That means it will add. So what this will do is this command, it will add a component with the inline technique. Inline technique means, you know, that means only one file with the HTML, CSS and TS. Means only one file with the HTML, CSS and TS. So for all of them, only one file will be generated. In that file, all the markup is defined. Markup and HTML, everything is defined. Inline template true means it will not create separate files. That means you can simply say that. So it will not create separate files. It will not create separate files. That is what inline template is. There is another point here. You can use ng generate component name. And here you can add one more option. That is --, flat is equal to true. Flat equal to true means it will not create a separate folder for your component files. So all files are added directly into app folder. That means a separate folder will not be created for your component. All files will be added directly into app folder. That means currently separate folder is being created. So you see already we have a component called app component.